And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. A vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. The vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect when people on Facebook didn't like to be told, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, do you? Part of this is to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. Again, I'm back. Hi. I'm Shujin Tribble all over the place. You can find me pretty much anywhere under that name. Let me introduce you very quickly to a very small contingent tonight. From the Midwest of the U.S., good evening, Bridget.
Good evening.
And yes, at the moment, it's just the two of us. And yes, there is a song involved with that, but that's for later. Joey will be joining us momentarily. He's finishing up his DJ gig, of course. So let's kind of go down the list of everybody. Dalan, don't know, probably resting, and at this point that wouldn't totally surprise me. Still he's still got some of his stuff medically, so fine, I got no problem with that. Heretic Woman, well, she's kind of, how do I best put this, she's rubbing elbows with Dr. Dawkins, and take that however you want, because we have photographic proof. So we've got blackmail material for somebody. I'm guessing. I don't know. Let's see. Unredo Tech, as far as I remember, is off this week. I think I did kind of message note him, and I didn't hear back. So I'm guessing he probably is. Joseph is, well, it's early, so it's entirely possible that he's just kind of dead to the world right now, which perfectly fine. So right now you get the two of us, and shortly to be three. So let me give everybody a quick rundown as to stuff from last week. By the way, did you guys miss me last week?
Yes.
Thank you. It's appreciate that. Trolling for compliments is always a good thing. So last weekend I was doing my 36-hour marathon fundraiser for Ride for Roswell. I survived it. Obviously, I made it through. The last 12-ish hours were a little bit tough, and the last 6 really, really tough on me. Got to the point where I realized that I would blink my eyes, or at least I thought it was blinking them, and I suddenly realized I missed 10 seconds of a song that was playing. And that's when I suddenly realized, yeah, I'm kind of losing it. And we did the numbers. At that point, when I got done, I was awake for 52 hours straight. So you as the medical authority in the group, that's not something that most people want to do, is it?
You're too old for that. I'm just saying.
I will go ahead and I will say it once, and I will say it again. I don't care. It's for a good damned cause, and I'm going to keep doing it every year that I can.
It is, but 52 hours is a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is once a year. It's it's worth it. If this is what it takes for me to get my revenge, I'll take it. I know in the grand scheme of things, it probably doesn't mean a hell of a lot for anything, but let me tell you what's going on with that, though. Over at the website for the end of cycle for Sarcoma team, which actually, come to think of it, I didn't put it into the show notes for us for this week. So far at the website, we've raised over $1,100, which is pretty good. We have 3 people on the team. Okay.
So that's real good.
Yeah. In Second Life, we've raised, guesstimating at the moment, because I haven't done all of the numbers. Preliminary numbers say approximately. Okay. $150. Most of which was during this weekend. Now, it's entirely possible that there is more yet to come, but that's okay. What I was thinking about doing was parlaying that money to sponsor people to become virtual writers for the team. Nobody has to show up anywhere. They just sign up and they say, I want to be part of the team and I'm pledging however much money it is. Here's the deal. It's $20 to be a virtual rider. You have to have $20 in to be a virtual rider, to be part of the team. What I'm thinking about doing is taking that $150 plus and sponsoring people to be virtual riders, even if they don't bring in any additional money for themselves. The place gets the money anyway. We get more riders on the team that don't have to do anything except just give their support and bring up the numbers for the team. I have not exactly announced this officially yet, but I'm going to see about this after the weekend and see who would like to be in part of that. Maybe podcasters, maybe Second Life people, don't know. But if our PCI is going to get the money anyway, and we have the opportunity of gaining some additional people on the team instead of it just being myself and my kid and a friend of the family, oh yeah, I don't see a real problem with that. So
Shujin?
if you're watching and you would like to be part of that, please be aware I will have the word out eventually. So keep that in mind and keep a look-see. So we'll see what happens with that. And I padded out enough time that Joe should have been here by now, but you know what? Maybe he's just running a little late. That's fine. Oh, this is going to be great. So I might as well just get everything started because this is going to be a little bit tough for just the two of us and probably just the three of us, but we'll see. And of course, for those of you that are watching right now, thank you. You've got the chat system available over there on YouTube directly. If you want to contact me via Skype, via Discord, via Twitter, or via Facebook. And you can also find me over on Telegram. That's what it was. Feel free to chime in and, let me know what you're thinking and what you've got to say. And who knows, maybe if you ask nicely, we can invite somebody in to pad up the numbers over here because what the hell? Meantime, let me go ahead and get you guys started with your 5-minute freestyle because why the hell not? One of these days, I've got to find a way of putting it into the corner on the screen. And where are my notes for that? There it is. That's what I was looking for. Very organized. So your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. Yeah, I know people were looking at this, the list of letters, and we're kind of wondering, is this the new Karfove? No, it's not. It's got nothing to do with that. This was actually a well thought out collection of letters. FACotKL. What the hell does that mean, Shu? Well, that's a good question. I'm glad somebody asked. In this case, it would be me. FACotKL. I've been thinking about what I'm going to be doing for myself for job, for income. And I've kind of been, wondering about a couple of things. And, I'm working my way towards the leather crafting thing, which I know. I've still got to do that and get a couple pieces together. Coffee, by the way, actual coffee tonight. So for a drink. But believe it or not, I got to thinking about what could I do? I mean, I would like to have money. I mean, I think we all would. And I don't want to be doing, stuff that would be illegal. I mean, most people wouldn't because, the whole payoff is all great until somebody finally realizes what you're doing. That's not a good moment right there. And then it kind of dawned on me. And this actually kind of made sense. FACotKL. What does that stand for? What am I thinking of? The First Atheist Church of the Known Liar. Think about that a second. What if I were to start my own sect? Loosely, very, very loosely, using the Bible. Now, before you go ahead and start laughing too hard, think about this a second. Did you hear about the priest who said that he's got the phone number, the direct phone number to talk to God? Did you hear about that one? I'm sure you did. You're smart. You've been paying attention to this stuff. This guy's got himself a cell phone and he's up there and he's prancing around and he's talking on the phone to God, directly to God, pointing out to people and knowing things and being able to tell people about themselves and what's going on and how he's going to help them and what he's going to pray for, and just blessings, here they come, whoosh, out there, and swaths of people falling over. Maybe that doesn't exactly happen all the time for stuff, but we've seen that with the first atheist church of the known liar. Why couldn't I get away with that? Seriously, what would stop me? If I were to go ahead and find a venue and just use very specific passages from the Bible, or really from several holy books, why not? Why couldn't I just cherry pick a whole bunch of specific lines, highlight just those, and only use those, the ones that are nice, the ones that have got nice things to say, the stuff that it's usually pulled out for, a wedding, like two shall come together as one, or something like that. I mean, I could bless damn near anything. Why not? I could use Heretic Woman's favorite one and bless an orgy if I could ever be invited to one. Why not? What's to stop me from setting up and actually calling it the first atheist church of the known liar? Be completely upfront. Be completely transparent about that. And say that people can donate. Use the new stuff that we've got now. Use Square and, slide debit cards. Maybe have a Patreon and people can donate a dollar a week or $1 a month. Why not? Why can't I just go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to intentionally put up a venue where you people will eventually go ahead and pay me enough money that I'm making a profit that I don't have to pay any taxes on, because you're donating a gift to me because it's religion. Next time you go ahead and you start talking about where do atheists get their morals from, ask yourself again, why don't I do that? More importantly, why do some others do, but not use that name? Episode 165 on the docket, Your Honor. Oh, you. Yeah, I was gonna do, the whole "oh, you kid," but yeah, that's wrong. We've got wow, the last 2 weeks that have been gone, there's been a hell of a lot of things that have gone to shit. I think is probably the proper term for it. Sorry, it's about the right way for it. So
Yeah.
I think for the big one that just recently blowed up, I think it's probably a good idea for us to go ahead and kind of go back through to quoque. Am I pronouncing it right? I keep forgetting. I keep screwing it up.
Don't ask me.
Fine, it's close enough. Anyway, and we'll because I'll explain what brought it up, because those of us in the know now, we know probably what happened, but I'll have to explain it for everybody in a moment. Meanwhile, Joey, you made it. Hi, Chief.
Hi there. Sorry, had a slight spilling of split pea soup to clean up.
So you had an old priest and a young priest visit.
No, not this time. This time it was, in fact, split pea soup.
I'll go with that.
And wow, I am just bleached out right now, aren't I?
Well, you're Irish, so it's kind of to be expected, no?
Let's be specific. I don't go around claiming to be Irish. I'm a third-generation Irish American.
Close enough. And
Because there are some Irish folk who do take
umbrage.
some front to that.
Can't imagine why. And by the way, Randy, do see you over there. Hi. And new grandson. You kept the receipt, right? I mean, you can always turn them back in 90 days if things don't work out. But it works the same way with dogs, doesn't it?
No.
No. Cockatiels. There's a joke that ended up over on Facebook. Later.
I'm either bleached out or I'm just too damn dark in here. So
just go. Just go with bleached. I don't gotta go whatever the hell it is. Anyway, I did go looking a little bit before showtime. At the moment, we don't have any new news on Ray Dowie. I wish we did, but right now we don't have anything new. So unfortunately, with nothing new in the air at the moment, this now puts us at 4 years, 11 months, 11 days. Since Rafe Badawi is unjustly incarcerated for thought crime, our hopes and our thoughts are still with you. 5 years. Almost 5 freaking years. For no good reason. Thanks, Saudi. Appreciate that. By the way, for those of you that don't speak English, I would otherwise offer you some Italian Sign Language, but yeah, I think you can probably figure it out for yourselves. You're welcome. And Randy's saying, "Yep, he's got the receipt. He can return them just in case." That's beautiful. So the joke with the bird is, if you have a parrot, if you don't teach it how to say, "I've been turned into a parrot. Help me back to being human," you're wasting your time. And I kind of suggested maybe a couple of other things that would have been more entertaining. Things like, is Betty White dead? Is Abe Vigoda still alive? Stuff like that. Some people didn't really appreciate that very much.
Polly does Polly want a cracker? Polly wants a piece of your mama's sweet ass. I don't remember what that's from, but
doesn't matter. It's okay.
Oh wait, it's not one of those shows, is it? I'm sorry.
Might be. And Aubrey, hey there. Let's see. Didn't Saudi Arabia declare all atheists to be terrorists?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did.
Well, I've never been called that before.
A terrorist?
I've been called many things. Nobody's called me a terrorist yet until now.
Face. Yeah, unfortunately, Saudi Arabia did do that.
Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, well, see, the problem of it is, he wasn't put in jail for being an atheist. He basically just had a blog out there and said, why can't we talk about something else other than, Islam? Couldn't we have a discussion outside of the bounds of all that? Maybe, please. And they basically railroaded his ass. There's no other way of really wording it. Because last I remembered, I do believe that not only he, but his lawyer, both are in jail. Because, well, you defend him and you're wrong. Well, obviously there's something wrong with you too, apparently, according to the law out there. So he's in too.
The law.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. That's all kinds of fun.
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Yeah, but it's really hard for me to be able to substitute any other word except fun in these huge air quotes without completely saying bullshit. So I guess I'll just go with that.
Note that they have to use the word law because if they try to use the word justice, Inigo Montoya is going to flip his shit.
can't imagine why. Yep.
So is that why I keep getting pulled out for special screening when I fly? Because I'm a terrorist?
Could be.
Oh, no. It's just, I don't know.
Every single time.
For some odd reason, out of the 8 years that I spent in the military, every time we had a urinalysis scheduled, I was on it. I have never done an illicit drug in my life. I can't say I have never done a drug because technically tobacco's a drug, caffeine's a drug, alcohol is a drug, but those aren't illicit.
And as somebody who has got a very large amount of coffee right now, yes, I completely agree with you. Doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to us, but then again, we are not. You know what? I want to say some very unsavory things, and I'm not going to. I will just go on record as saying it's bullshit. Thanks, guys. Thanks. So anyway, what happened this week that made me finally say, okay, I've got my topic this week. Kathy Griffin. For those of you that don't know, comedian, and not an exceedingly popular one at the moment, and very unpopular now. She did a photo shoot wherein she held up what was supposed to have been basically an effigy of Donald Trump's severed bloody head in her hand, which got a whole bunch of people yelling and screaming like you would not believe. They flipped their shit as the only way to work it. The conservatives went absolutely ballistic because why would you ever do something like that? That's wrong. Let's just go with that as an overarching. And of course, we ended up having the liberals who all went ahead and yelled and screamed and said, where was all this outrage when all these things, these effigies were being shown up for President Obama for 8 years? Maybe like, oh, I don't know. Hang in there, President Obama, with his picture of him with a head and a noose. Flaming effigies, again, on the end of a noose. You get the idea. For 8 years. Thanks. So, to quoque, again, assuming I'm saying it correctly, because I've forgotten. I should have double checked. I keep forgetting. I keep trying to remember, but is basically just because you did it doesn't mean that my doing it makes it right, and vice versa. Just because I did it doesn't make you doing it make it right. It's otherwise known as the argument from Hypocracy, and we need to touch on this one because unfortunately I have found that I'm having a really hard time keeping my separation on this one. And before I go any further, I have to acknowledge that there is one group that went ahead and said that they are exceedingly upset with Kathy doing this because they did it first, and they want to have the respect and the admiration for having done it first, and that would be GWAR. Apparently, GWAR did it first, and they've been doing it for a while now. They did it with the head of President Trump. They did it with the head of President Obama. They did it with several other heads. So they've basically said, look, you're stepping on our gig. Cut it out. So I did not reach out to the group GWAR to get any kind of a statement from them. So they have not given us any kind of a statement to read. So in the spirit of which I believe that they would appreciate it, they can just go fuck themselves. So thanks, guys. Ignoring us just as much as we ignore you. Appreciate that. You're welcome. For those of you that don't know who GWAR is, I can't really help you right now. Except that there is actually a bona fide version of GWAR out there. That's for later. Promise that's for later. No, Joe, seriously, they put them into the comic books.
More than I need to know.
You're welcome. Yeah. Anyway, so here's the deal. Trying to figure out, is it the right thing? Is it the wrong thing? What level of wrong? And why am I having a hard time with Kathy did it? That was wrong. The conservatives did it. That was wrong. But GWAR doing it is okay. Kinda.
Well, the thing with GWAR is, I think fairly, to be fair, it could be lodged under the category of satire, especially since they haven't done it to just one person.
I guess you could go with that.
Knowing their sense of humor, their idea of a head of state.
You okay? Yeah, you've got a very good point there. I hadn't thought of that.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right. Especially considering GWAR's sense of humor and their performance sense of humor.
Carry on, my wayward son.
You know what? I gotta. Now that's another one I gotta put into the show notes. Thanks. More in there, damn it.
I forget the group that was doing that, but they were taking, a bunch of different artists and having them do covers of songs way out of their comfort zone, so to speak.
I don't even know who GWAR is.
It's a very profane, offensive, and downright hilarious heavy metal band.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
they get dressed up in costumes and such for their events.
Way over the top.
Think of it like going to a Krampus festival in Germany. Very much like that, which I can't understand why they would have those out in the open for kids to see, because I've seen one and they're absolutely terrifying.
I wonder if we could ever get. I wonder if we could ever have a section of the fursuit parade at Anthrocon, just a bunch of them just being Krampus. Come on, in the middle of well, in the beginning of summer, actually. I mean, come on, that'd be great.
In the beginning.
So here's yes, the AV Club. Thank you, Aubrey. AV Club is the YouTube people who do the covers once a year. I will make sure that GWAR and one of the covers is linked in the show notes. As a reminder, GWAR is basically PG-13 in this particular situation. GWAR in general, yeah, that's pretty much an R right there, at least. So just keep that in mind, folks. And thank you. And Randy, yeah, that's actually pretty damn funny. Trump wasn't using his head anyway. Appreciate that. So, all right. So the problem that I've got is, of course, trying to separate the people doing it to Obama in effigy, and, well, in this case, so far that I know of, it's only one specifically doing it against Donald Trump, very visibly so, with a very visible singular person who has been in the public eye anyway. Say what you will about whatever her current status is as A list, B list, C list comedian, whatever. But, when you're making money as a performance artist of some kind, that's pretty damned impressive. And, that makes you visible. I mean, come on. Some people still remember who Danny Terrio was, for crying out loud. Thank you, Joe. I was afraid of that.
Hi. Now, I had just now popped open the pop-out chat for the YouTube channel, and I noticed that Randy had posed a question earlier that I wasn't sure if it had been addressed.
Oh, I did not see that at this point.
He posed the question, so if you're stationed in Colorado, can a soldier smoke weed legally?
No.
Hell no. Number one, as I mentioned earlier, if you're an active duty soldier, you are routinely subject to urinalysis tests. I won't even hang out with friends who smoke weed. I personally don't smoke weed. I don't do any illicit drugs, and I don't judge those who do, with the exception of some really bad things. But I won't even hang out with a friend who smokes weed because that can just the secondhand smoke off that can show up on your analysis, and then I get hit.
Yep.
And it doesn't just apply to that. You are a federal government employee. And so, regardless of the situation in a state or even in another country, you have to abide by our federal government's laws. So, for example, if you are a soldier who gets stationed somewhere in South Korea where the legal drinking age is 18, you are technically not allowed to drink alcohol unless you are 21. Now, there are those who try to sneak past that one, and that is why you see an awful lot of U.S. Army MPs out and about around the bases. Because if the MPs catch you out, number one, out past curfew, you're in trouble. If they catch you doing illegal things by U.S. law, such as drinking under 21, you're in trouble. And if you're caught doing things against Korean law, South Korean specifically, you're in trouble. And for overseas stations like that, we also have what's called the SOFA, which is the Status of Forces Agreement.
Which loosely translates as?
Effectively, though you are an American citizen acting in part for the U.S. government, you are still subject to the laws of not only the U.S. government, but also the government of the state in which you are in. So, for example, we had a guy in my unit who was a very troubled individual. Got very, very drunk and decided he needs a ride home. And saw a transit bus parked in a parking lot with keys in while the driver was taking a break.
I think I vaguely remember this.
Yeah. He went joyriding for a few hours before the Korean police managed to shut him down. And he was not prosecuted by U.S. authorities. He was prosecuted by Korean authorities and ended up having to go to a Korean correctional facility, which I can tell you is not necessarily fun.
No, I would well imagine that one of the side benefits would be that he got his crash course in learning Korean.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing is you think it's bad, say, we've all heard the stories. If you're a child molester and you go to prison, your life expectancy is very short. Because though there may be murderers and drug dealers and all the other sort in that prison, ain't nobody got respect for a child molester.
Yep. There's an expression, there is no honor among thieves. Yeah, don't believe that one in this case.
Yeah, you touch kitties, and you go to jail, they're going to do more than touch you.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it is a similar situation when you're a U.S. soldier and you find yourself the only U.S. citizen and the only English speaker in that prison. Yeah. So, doesn't matter what the laws are, where you're stationed, you have to observe both their laws and our laws.
So basically, it comes down to breathe, don't go outside, and you're safe. For the record, by the way, my drug of choice is coffee and occasionally wine. That is it. I have not smoked anything unless you consider secondhand smoke growing up because, you know, it was the 70s and the 80s. What are you going to do?
I am not proud of the fact that I smoke. I have tried to quit on numerous occasions. Go figure. Addiction is slightly harder than that. But, you know, number one, it does mean that I pay more in taxes. So on one degree, I'm doing you a favor. On another, I am known to be a very aggressive and violent person. The fact that I smoke decreases my lung capacity, which means I can't chase you fuckers down.
Not gonna say a damned word about this one.
Yeah, I know. Smoking is a bad habit for bad people.
All right, fine. Really quickly then, my uncle, who himself was not exactly the nicest of people, I found out, you know, years later, he was the one who had gone to Vietnam, and he gave me and my brothers a puff off of his cigarette. And there we are, we're kids, and there we are, we're hacking a cough and hacking a cough. It's like, see this? I need a
stand in.
Yeah, you see this? It's a dirty, stinking habit. Don't you ever do it. Would you like to know what he smoked?
Given the era, I can imagine.
Yeah, give it a try.
Are you talking brands or actual herb?
No. Actually, the brand.
Oh,
because it was actually.
Camels
Oh,
unfiltered.
heck. Crap. Camels? Yeah.
She got it.
Unfiltered.
That was my first guess. My second guess would have been Lucky Strikes.
Yeah, Lucky Strike. Lucky Strike would have been World War II more.
Well, they still clung around a little after.
Oh yeah, they did. But I mean,
but you know, for a lot of guys, those came with like the typical. I won't say care pack. Well, yeah, I won't say care package, and I won't say rations because rations are specifically food. I know they were included in them, but I would say, you know, the troop maintenance packages that came with their MREs that typically had like a chocolate bar and a wad of toilet paper and stuff like that. And for a lot of soldiers who didn't smoke, that was as good as money over there.
Yeah, and Bridget, you picked it up right away. You know how nasty those were, don't you?
Yep.
I know how nasty they are. I've had one before. Never again.
Nope.
I got a mouthful of tobacco so dang hot. No, thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, kids, it's a dirty, stinking habit. Stick to talking on the radio. It's a lot more fun. And you get to meet more and interesting people who want to punch you in the face. So back to this whole thing of who should be punching who, or more appropriately, not. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the Nazi thing. That was later. We've done that already. Sorry. I'm just there've been so many things over the last 2 weeks that have just drive up a wall down the other side, man.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Like, stop it with the breaking news alerts because you're wearing me out.
Oh,
There's
God.
just so much.
Yeah.
Why do you think I stopped watching and listening to the news?
Because you don't have enough time left in your brain cells.
That's true. I mean, with as much time as I have left probably on this good green rock of ours, I don't have time to be wasting worrying about, which actor got the Oscar, what the Kardashians are doing, and what Trump has, opened mouth and insert foot for.
Don't get it. So here's part of the problem that I've got. It was wrong to do it for President Obama, especially in the ways that it was done. The whole hearkening back to the lynchings of the South, which I can't even say are done exactly. A couple of years ago, I had done a news story about a gentleman who was chained to the back of a pickup truck and drug through several miles of wilderness and back roads and bad things. Now, obviously, this is not quite the same as finding a tree and wrapping somebody from it. But the fact that this happened as late as the mid-90s, I think. I've forgotten because I hadn't really thought about it up until now. That's not... I'm sorry. I've got no other way of saying it. That's not cool, man. It's just absolutely unconscionable that anybody could do such a thing. Granted, it was, and let's not even go here. It was the 90s. I don't want to do that. I'm not going there. But things have at least progressed over the last 20 years since. So there's that. But the fact of the matter is, this kind of thing has still happened into relatively recent past.
It's even more recent than you would want to think.
Go ahead.
I mean, it is as recent as 2008.
Come on, give me more. You went ahead and you opened yourself up
for
this one.
Texas and one in Mississippi. What more do you want?
Well, first off, I don't recall these, otherwise I would have pulled them up. So how this is just and we're talking basically,
yeah, one man was dragged 200 miles behind a truck. White man dragged by two white men driving.
And I can imagine there wasn't much left afterward.
Probably not. 200 miles is a piece.
Yeah. And that sounds suspiciously like the one that I'm thinking of. And I'm sincerely hoping that I'm wrong. But I get the funny feeling I'm not.
Be right back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
trying to see, the one in Mississippi was 7 years ago. So yeah, it's still pretty recent comparatively speaking.
See, now I'm actually sorry that I deleted all of those newscasts that I did back then. Unbelievable.
But Mississippi does not surprise me.
No. And that's the saddest part about it.
Yeah.
So we've done before a show where context matters. And I think that's part of the problem that we've got, or at least part of the problem that I've got with dealing with this whole damn thing. GWAR doing it, well, let's face it, from the I'm gonna find a picture of the band in a couple of moments to put up over here. Something that's at least relatively appropriate. But Joe's right. They are just absolute satire. They're a legitimate group.
Mm-hmm.
But their look, they're absolute satire. They make themselves up to look like
well, example, lesser known example. There's a band called Steel Panther whose entire thing is their music and their outfits and their performances are entirely wrapped around the idea of making satire of the old hair bands from the 70s and 80s.
Yep, there we go. And I found a picture. Let me give you guys this. This is directly from their website.
I think
this is what they
too is what you expect from people. If you're used to seeing certain groups do certain things, then there's not as much outrage when they keep doing it. I guess you become used to it or you expect it.
It kind of looks like, satire of all the metal bands with a little bit of very bad Flash Gordon going in there.
Well, truth be told, to me, they look like cartoon versions of the demons that you'd expect from like Fantasia.
Well, one of the first things that comes to mind is Iron Maiden. There's obviously a lot of inspiration from their artwork.
Oh, you mean for like Eddie?
Eddie,
yeah.
And clearly somebody's making fun of 300 with their paint on abs.
Yep. I'm not specifically familiar with that guy. And the one all the way to the right, he's got fawn hooves, oversized, giant, demon-looking fawn hooves, but fawn hooves just the same. Which, personally speaking, nice job. Anyway, that particular picture is, I'm guessing their current lineup. They've had several people over the years, one of whom passed a year or two ago, their previous lead singer, but still, they've had some interesting individuals with interesting outfits. Another time.
But to be fair, much like, say, Alice Cooper, once you meet him off stage and out of character, nicest damn people you could think of.
Generally speaking, yeah. But the thing of it is, for them to go ahead and hold up a bloody severed head of head of state, that's actually really funny. I can only hope that that's actually what they were going for, that they were actually going for highbrow in a low way.
Well, if not, then there you go, guys. There's your chance to make a song for that performance.
Assuming that they haven't already. But what makes it okay, and I'm saying this very carefully, what makes it okay, in air quotes, of course, but not okay for other groups to do similar? Now, I'm kind of wondering, is it the context? Is it the fact that they would not be doing it because they're advocating for violence for someone, so much as they're trying to use it for a crass joke? And I'm having a hard time with this one because that's basically what Kathy did.
Yeah, that's definitely right up their alley.
You know what? I think maybe that's part of the reason why I have a hard time saying that it's okay, because it kind of really isn't. But for them, yeah, it's much more satirical. It's much more showboaty, maybe is the better way of putting it. They would not be advocating for violence. They will You know what? I can't believe I'm actually going to say this. I'm going to make an actual concerted effort to see if I can get somebody from GWAR to give us someone to talk to, or some kind of a statement or something.
That could be dangerous.
It could be, but you know what? What the hell? We're shit tier. They're shit tier. Why not? What have we got to lose, right? No laughter of any kind. No. Oh, no, we're not that. Look. Thanks, guys. Really.
Well, I mean, you know me, I would contact them. I mean, just because
Don't-
all they could do is say no
Or nothing,
or
as the
nothing.
case may be. That would be rather entertaining to see what happens. Yeah. Okay. Let's leave GWAR aside for the time being, because that's just making this a little bit more difficult.
Well, the other part of this is Donald Trump's hypocrisy too. As far as his tweet about how disturbing it was to his kid. And it's like, well, what about all these other kids that have been traumatized by all this shit that you've done? Wah. I mean, really?
Yeah. I saw the other one that it was Malala, I believe it was 8 when her dad was elected into office and the shitstorm began. He's a secret Muslim who is just waiting to take all your guns and completely annex the entirety of the country. What? Including invading Texas. And he's not an American citizen, and he's not a legitimate president, and all this happy stuff from when she was 8. You're right. The hypocrisy there is, I believe the term is palpable.
Yeah.
And when did it stop?
It hasn't.
That's exactly right. It hasn't. Even till today. Guy's out of office for 5 months, give or take, and it shit's still flying. Yeah, I've gone ahead and I've said it several times. I don't care. Because it's just too damn annoying. So the hypocrisy just goes on and the wheel keeps on turning. But it's not, it doesn't make it right. You went ahead and did it, so it's okay for me to do it, or vice versa. And we know full well that that is just another one of those, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And really, what does it end up getting anybody? Except frustrated, because sooner or later you run out of body parts to trade off. How the hell do you stop the cycle from going on?
I don't know, because I'm not sure exactly how to put this. We saw the Democratic Party kind of capitulate and try to play nice and all that, and it didn't work. And I know this isn't a political show, but that's just an observation. They tried to play nice, they didn't fight back, and it got them nowhere. It actually lost them ground. So what do you do?
Well, you know what? We're not a political show, but we don't even have to deal with the straight politics of it all. Another one that happened this week, Gianforte. He was asked by a reporter, what do you think of the healthcare bill? I'm not going to say anything about it until the Congressional Business Office comes out with their report. Ask me about it then. The CBO report comes out. 20 plus million Americans are going to lose healthcare again because of the new, and rates will go up because of the new, and things will just be bad by comparison because of the new. Okay, we've got our numbers. The CBO report is out. And I'd like to now ask you about it, because you've got 12 hours from now when you're supposed to be voting on this, so I want to find out what's going on. I don't have a lot of time. You don't have a lot of time. Give us the answers. And what happens? The guy went basically all Undertaker on him, grabbed him and threw him down, broke his glasses, and son of a bitch still won his election.
Yeah.
So what does it take? You're right. It's not a matter of, needing to even go into the politics of it all. The fact that somebody anywhere could go ahead and do that to somebody who is doing their freaking job that they're supposed to do, not just because it's their job, but because, questioning authority is kind of the American way.
Or it used to be.
It used to be. That's right. I mean, what is it that we need? Is it a matter that we need Kal-El with us to actually be at the Daily Planet because he's the only one who can't be choke slammed and can fend off bullets if it comes to that? Which, don't even get me started on that. Guy in Texas went ahead and said, hey, look at this target that I shot. I'm going to keep this with me in case some reporters get uppity with me.
Yeah, I saw that.
And people wonder. People wonder why I get a little stir crazy doing this job sometimes. Joe.
Yes.
Let me put it to you this way. You find yourself in a situation where you're talking with somebody really loudly and they're talking really loudly. At what point is really loudly supposed to translate into trying out for Vince McMahon for the next SummerSlam?
Don't ask me about wrestling questions.
It's not about wrestling. And you know it.
I know, it's acting.
Shouldn't happen. I mean, it should never come to that point in a civilized society, but that's just it. We are no longer civilized.
No, it's not that we're not civilized. It's that some of us have varying degrees of civility and manners.
And then there are some that have just basically said, screw it all. I'm going to do what I want because I'm going to do what I want.
I've just seen a lot of things go to hell in the last 20 years.
And it's just been accelerating like crazy the last 2.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense. I mean, the civility problem is arguably the biggest piece of it all. I mean, what the hell? I'll just go ahead and say it. What the hell, people? Seriously.
I don't know. Politicians used to be statesmen, and that's how they comported themselves. And they worked together to, get things done. It might not be exactly what they wanted or the other side wanted, but there was some compromise, and that's what it meant to be a politician. And that's no longer the case.
Go ahead, Joe. I know that there's something rolling around in your head of yours.
Oh, you're still a baby. You don't remember.
There are many things you can call me. Younger.
Okay, you're still younger. You don't remember what it was like in the early 70s.
She's got you there.
You weren't here.
Touche. But I have been to places where people will still think it is the 70s.
Yeah.
And for God's sake, Shu, grow up. Disco's dead.
But I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
And it gets even worse, It wasn't long enough ago where I was saying the biggest problem that people have got with President Obama, and you know what? There's a thing going around right now that I'm going to break the rule of. How many times did I have to go ahead and say that there were people who were all up in arms because that uppity nigger's in my White House. Yes, I said it. And you know what? If you got a problem with that, go fuck yourself. Why? Because that's exactly what was said. That's exactly what people were doing. And burying your head into saying nobody should ever use that word again, you know what? You're right. But it's a matter of we need to know. I've said it too many damn times before. If you ignore the raw piece of the reality of the past, you ain't gonna learn from it. Do I want to say the N-word? No. And just now, my saying the N-word, quote unquote, I know full well that Pillow Hands McGee out over there at Angry Black Rant, I know, I'm having fun at your expense, I'm sorry, it would be giving me shit about it. I actually asked him about it, and he's like, no, man, use the word. When it's right, use the word. Okay, thank you. And it made sense. So what have we got now? We've got, you've both been in the military. You both know what the expression MAD stands for, I would guess.
Mutually assured destruction?
My favorite acronym.
That's the one you're... Okay.
But here's the problem. What immediately precedes a ramp up? Escalating tensions. Posturing. Sometimes with bigger and bigger sticks. Or in this case, ICBMs. Or threats of violence.
Still a stick, just a very, very angry and specialized stick, but still just a stick.
Yep. Is that what we're looking at? Are we actually looking at a future complete civil meltdown? And I'm not saying civil as in a civil war, like, trying to split the country into two pieces or more. I mean civil as in, people behaving towards one another, never mind within or out of the law.
I want to clear something up with that.
Yeah.
Because, well, particularly Americans, when we hear the term civil war, we figure it's, one region against another, the region wants to secede, or yada, yada, yada. That's not all civil war is about. It can be based on territory. It can be based on ideologies.
There's another one, too, that I was thinking of. Let's not forget economics.
Yeah.
I mean, let's look at, for that one, you don't have to look very much further than, let's see, just after the American Civil War, the American war separating us from England.
The Revolutionary War.
Well, I was going to use that afterwards because you had the revolution in France.
Well,
immediately afterwards.
The American War for Independence would be probably the best way of putting it.
But the revolution in France was, if memory serves, and admittedly, I'm a little sketchy right about now, was mostly economics.
Pretty much, yeah. It was the haves and the have-nots.
And Randy is putting a good question out here, and you're not going to like my answer. Randy went ahead and said, quote, or do you think Trump is going to try to grow the economy through the military-industrial complex?
I'll let you tackle that one first, Shu.
I did this. I covered this. This is one of my go-tos. I even separated out the 5-minute freestyle that had everything to do with this into its own separate piece, which one of these days I'm going to see about doing that with a whole bunch of other pieces. It's not because of Trump. That amount of money that is spent in this country, 55% of the money spent by the Fed is part of that. And that's not Trump's doing. It's been slowly ramping up. It's been creeping and creeping and creeping and continuing to. And it's not any one person that's can be credited to it. It's national exceptionalism. It's national xenophobia. It's the fear that we have to be the biggest and the baddest, bar none, and we're going to spend all the money that we've got, no matter how much money we have to spend later because we're doing it on credit cards, effectively. I don't think that he can think that far in advance about it. Truly. I really do not believe it. So, do I think that he's looking at building up money that way? No. I don't give him that much credit for even conceiving that far in advance, economically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
He's not, but I'm sure there are a lot of people in government who are thinking that far in advance and doing it for the money, and they have his ear.
Well, of course. And my part on this would be, no, he's not going to. It has never been one individual person who has done that in our government. It has been groups of people who know that kind of game and have been playing that kind of game ever since World War II, ever since we left the isolationist ideology. Because they realized during World War II, boy, this turned out real profitable for us.
And now there's, what was it, $110 billion in weapons that's just been signed off on for Saudi Arabia?
Yep.
But for specifically Trump, he does not have the competence for that. Now, I'm not saying he's incompetent. I'm not saying he's stupid in any way. Trump is a very intelligent individual in his own way. But that kind of business network that he is familiar with, that he has excelled with, is entirely different from a military-industrial complex. And no offense, he does not have the competence for that, because as we have seen thus far with how he has utilized the military thus far in his tenure, he clearly does not have the faculties to completely grasp that. That's kind of why. That's pretty much why he did the whole I'm cutting the generals off the leash sort of thing. You don't usually see that from a commander-in-chief. But that's what he did, because he understands, like I said, he is not stupid. He understands that he does not have that kind of expertise. So he's giving the call to those who reasonably would have that expertise.
And he's doing it publicly. He's basically saying, I've got the best people. I've got these people that are going to go ahead and do it. And did they get the okay from me? Sure. Of course, everybody knows exactly what was going on. And if things go well, he takes the credit, because he's got the people and they're under him and they're doing exactly what should have been done. And if anything goes wrong, well, they were acting in a way that I wouldn't have wanted them to, and they were free to do that. And now they've gone ahead and stubbed their own toes.
Again, he's doing this. He is treating this much more like a business.
And he's doing it for the glory.
I still think, yes, he did that just so that he could get his name on those books.
Right next to the expression that says, grab him by the pussy.
Well, funny enough, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I was just going to say that if you ever do find yourself in the Library of Congress, they do actually have books that catalog every single presidential placeholder and candidate, regardless of how insignificant they are. Believe it or not, my mother is in those books. She had a couple of votes.
I wonder
Well,
if
if it's
Grace
every
Allen's
single
in there.
candidate for everything, I'm in there too. So, woohoo!
Well, at least for the office of President of the United States, every write-in is in those books. If they got so much as a vote, technically speaking, they're in those books.
Like I said, I wonder how many official votes. Actually, best of my knowledge, I don't believe that Gracie Allen ever got an official tally. I think they guesstimated it at about a couple thousand. But for a comedian, who wasn't on the ballot, that's not an insignificant number of votes, even as a write-in.
Yeah, and another thing was Stephen Colbert when he talked about running, and his home state of South Carolina refused to even put him on the ballot. I am wondering just how many people did a write-in for him.
Remember, 2024, be looking for the surprise party. That's what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna have to get a better suit.
Yeah, we still got to figure out who's gonna be running for president, who's gonna be running for vice president. He says that I should run for president and he for vice president because who in the hell would ever want to hurt me, knowing full well that he's in the wings?
Well, the same has been said about Trump and Pence.
But no, he wants to push me out front so I can give JFK a run for his money. The youngest sitting president we've ever had.
Yes, he was.
And he got us to the moon.
Yeah, sort of did. Got paid in copper too, if I remember right. But that's a piece for later.
Yeah. Well, copper and another not so precious metal. That was apparently magic.
Anyway, so this whole damn thing. Let's deal with the civility problem, because somehow I will be honest. I don't know where to go with this at the moment, so I'm willing to kind of do a little bit of a dive down and see where it takes us at the moment. So this whole civility issue, I can't speak for anyone other than myself, of course. I have tried for myself and as the voice of the show to be very civil pretty much all the time. When Fred Phelps passed, I came on and I put out our official word, which was basically to say, let it go. Let them mourn, let them grieve, and just do nothing, say nothing. Let him just become a piece of obscure history and give no other credence. Which I still firmly stand behind and think that was arguably still one of the nicest things that anybody could have said about him, considering how despicable he was. Go ahead.
No, somebody sent me something and it's completely unrelated.
Okay, then.
Sorry.
It's okay.
You know me, I am easily amused.
Part of the reason why I keep you.
Me too. Well, I have to say that not on behalf of the show when Fred Phelps died. I did my little part.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if it was good or bad, but I sent money to the Trevor Project on his behalf.
I will say this much. As a veteran, as a individual who does not consider himself what one would refer to as straight, even though I really don't do anything on the sexual side, so And as an atheist, because they really didn't like them either, I refused to do anything regarding Phelps. I think the only thing I said was condolences to his family. And that's where I left it, because nobody should use someone's death and funeral as a way of forwarding an agenda.
Well, I thought the Trevor Project was a good thing to donate to. And for those who don't know what that is, it's a project for youth that are LGBTQ to help them with issues, regarding their sexuality and feeling suicidal and things like that.
At this point, I'm pretty sure I'm just what one could refer to as asexual. Period.
Yeah, those exist too.
I don't get any, I don't give any.
Which, finishing that off with I've got no fucks to give and no fucks to take just makes more sense.
That too, but also you'd be amazed at how uncomplicated your life becomes.
I've
dated. I have dated, and yeah, just put it aside, and your life becomes so much easier.
Less drama.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. And as somebody who has not dated, hasn't even had so much as like dreams, at least I can think of. Whatever. I don't even know where I'm going with this one. As far as,
well, I was just going to say, if I need somebody to add something to my life, I've got my friends and family, be they blood related or of choice.
Yep. And as far as the Trevor Project is concerned, I will make sure that that's linked in the show notes also, because I mean, it's good information to have anyway. I'll make sure about that. We want, I'm going to pitch something out, and I feel, I want to feel worse about it than I do, and I don't really feel that bad about it, and I think that I should. Is this, God, this is going to sound so, I'm going to sound like such a freaking elitist snob, and I don't mean to, but that's good. That's where it's going at this point for me, and I'm sorry. Is this the education divide that's going on? Is this the matter of that some people have more education isn't the right word for it, but is it a matter of civility? Is it a matter of understanding? Is it a matter of empathy, of caring, of I don't even know what the right terminology is for it, but it seems to be, is it a matter of the intellectuals versus the non-intellectuals?
Well,
I don't know that I'm saying it in the right way, and I'm overblowing it, but
that is one thing, Shu. It's all of those. That's the worst part, and there's no umbrella term for it.
Well, I do have a quote that one of my friends at work in Indianapolis used to say. And I quote her, Miss Thang. She would say, "Some people ain't got no home training." So there you go. When Bush 43 was in office, there seemed to be this backlash against people who were educated, and education was derided as being elitist. And I don't know when education became a bad thing, but it did. When Obama was in office, it got even worse. I guess because he was so well educated. And so we have this divide now where people are ignorant and they take pride in their ignorance. Sarah Palin was, one of the biggest influences on that, I think. she was willfully ignorant and proud of it.
And let's just back it up a second. There was Bush Jr. And when it became President Obama that he was so well educated, let's put all our cards on the table in this one. His wife also was a well-spoken, well-educated person.
Mm-hmm.
Black, white, female, male, doesn't matter, was well-educated and well-spoken and had a good, let's call it an agenda, had a good pet project. And it was for the betterment of people that you could actually figure out and learn whether they were right or wrong. Health, for food, for kids. Isn't that what most people would just call a slam dunk?
You would think, but she was derided for that.
For food, for kids that were in areas where maybe they weren't quite so lucky. So it's ideology. It's a lack of understanding. It's the, oh God, what the hell was the name of it? Shit. The, what the hell is the name of it? You think that you know so much, but you really don't.
What, the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Yes, Dunning-Kruger. That's what it is. It's exactly what this is. This is Dunning-Kruger just absolutely going haywire over the. How many presidencies back now? We can start seeing the beginnings of that back with Clinton, because Mrs. Clinton was also a decently educated, good college diploma winner, and they were derided like crazy, whether earned or not. And then that puts us back 20 years. At least 20 years that I can give seriously the idea that maybe this has been a long, slow curve that nobody saw going on at the time. How, I was going to say how sad, but I can't even say that. How infuriating when education is suddenly viewed as something wrong, something to be derided. This is all of the jocks finally saying, "Hey, nerd, let's go ahead and just push you into the lockers and lock you in, or give you a swirly, or all that." I mean, what the hell? Is that really what all of this is coming down to? The haves and the have-nots, the bullies and the ones that aren't. The jocks versus the nerds. All right, let's put it where it is. And for what good? What is it? What is it all for? For power, for influence? All well and good, except that, all well and good up until the point where somebody remembers, hey, guys, what happened to Lafayette during the play Hamilton? Does anybody else remember what happened there? That wasn't a good time there, was it? On the bright side, a lot of people are learning about history again. It may be a little fictionalized, but at least pieces are there. So, what can we do? Is there anything that we can really do differently from what we've been doing? Or maybe we're already doing all that we can. Maybe we need to help somebody else this is one of those situations where truth be told, I don't even know anymore. And I'm like a whole bunch of everybody else. I'm freaking sick and tired of waking up every morning. Okay, what did you do this time? Before you even get out of bed. Joe, we talked about it before with the kids coming in to the army because they wanted to get out of town areas where they didn't have the best of educations, and they thought that they'd be able to improve for themselves. I guess is maybe the nicest way of putting it. I mean, you talked about that before.
Yeah. I mean, I won't speak against my own education because, to be fair, I had some really great teachers who were all very open-minded. Though the curriculum, being where I was from, was a little skewed at some points. But for me, it was really just a matter of I had no opportunities there. I mean, if I'd waited a few years, maybe, but being unemployed sucks.
Well, from what I understand, living in Chicago sucks. So
that, or East St. Louis.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with just Chicago in general, just so I can piss off the guys at Cogdis. Hi guys. Whatever.
East St. Louis is to St. Louis the way Oakland is to San Francisco.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
I don't quite understand.
Dave Chappelle made a very good comment on it one time, which I cannot, in good conscience or for copyright law, present here on the show.
Okay, we'll go with that. And Randy has also said, by the way, Dan Errol may have an idea. Words ain't working. I feel really bad because I can't recall off the top of my head Dan Errol might have said or whatever. So I forgive me. The reference is lost on me currently. I'll see if I can't look up information later and try to better educate myself on this one.
Okay. I see what he's done here.
Was that?
He made the comment, Joey needs a sex robot.
Yeah, I was gonna pick that up again later.
Well, I'm just gonna knock it out of the park right now. There's only one thing I can say to you, my friend.
And for those that are listening to the podcast, it's your picture. It's your move.
Oh, fuck. It's your typical workplace safety sign. Safety first. Do not fist android girls. With a guy's hand being crushed between two gears.
And for those of us that are of the Anthrocon variety, gears has got a completely separate meaning, doesn't it?
You're asking the wrong person.
No, I think that you'd remember, but
I don't.
Two and Jibba, the gears. No,
still don't.
Never mind then. All right.
I faintly recall something about it, but
it's fine. People don't go looking that up in here. Don't even worry about it. It's fine. Let it go.
So does Steve Rogers, but
oh, you're mentioning Randy's comment there? Yeah.
He punches Nazis. Yeah, so did Steve Rogers.
Glad you said Steve, and because if you'd said so does Mr. Rogers, I was going to have a problem with that.
Well, I could.
Yeah, you could have.
But technically, he's still active duty, so I couldn't. It would be Captain Rogers. So, yeah, there's that.
Yeah. See, this is an expression. Be the man Mr. Rogers always knew that you could be. And then you got to try to figure out which Mr. Rogers it was.
There are quite a few.
Could be Steve, could be Fred. Doesn't matter.
Could be Roger.
Could be Buck.
Oh. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. I like Duck Dodgers. So.
Great. That's just great. Now I got Tom Jones rolling through my head. Thanks so much for that.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You know what, Bridget? You know what? Screw you first. Guys, 73, I think. I forgot how old he was off the top of my head. Tom Jones, he's in his early 70s, and he's still freaking rocking out the house because he can.
Yeah. Where is the Illudium Q36 explosive space modulator?
I could answer that, but it never would show up on the. It would only be on the cutting room floor. Termite Terrace would never see the light of day on that one. Some people know exactly what I'm talking about, and those of you are my people. Thank you. All right. Joking aside, because we don't have much longer, and I'm not going to take us too long. What do we do? We've got people in. We've got journalists who are being physically assaulted, not attacked, physically assaulted for doing their job, asking questions. We've got the press corps at the White House being blown off, being fed misinformation, disinformation, being lied to, being shuffled off. We've got tweets that have people wondering if the president had a stroke. Literally had a stroke in the middle of writing another Twitter screed. We got people that think that it's okay to use violence because that's what they've got to work with, it would seem. What do we do? Because in this country, the fact of the matter is, we've got another escalation that can easily start happening. I'm surprised nobody has been shot yet.
Actually, I'm sure there's a few cases, actually.
Between individuals, unfortunately, we know full well that keeps happening, and that will probably always keep happening because some people just can't keep it in their pants. And by that, I mean inside their belt loop.
Well, again, I have to state, it's not the guns that are the problem. It's the hate.
I know. It's a matter of people will do stupid, impulsive things. And that's why I'm saying it that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, when are we going to finally... You guys know firsthand what slug throwers do to people. My dad was a beat cop for 30 plus years. I saw some of the photos from scenes. When, and I can't believe I'm going to say it this way. Oh God, I hope I hope to God that I'm so wrong. When are we going to have the first high publicity public figure in an area where a concealed carry permit is allowed finally snap and put a bullet hole through a journalist's head for doing their job?
Well, my own commentary on that would be hopefully never, because you typically have to have classes and screenings in order to attain a conceal and carry license.
Typically, yes. But then again, you don't exactly get trained to choke slam somebody because they pissed you off, neither.
And
Well,
there's a move in more states to allow just carrying with no licensing requirements whatsoever.
well, there's plenty of states that allow unlicensed open carry.
And really doesn't matter if it's concealed or open. If you've got the weapon on you and you decide all of a sudden you've had enough and you would have otherwise hit somebody with your fist, you don't have to. You've now got the separation between you and the person. You don't have to use a knife or a sword or your fist. You can just go ahead and use a very impersonal piece of chemical weaponry and effectively throw a rock like a primitive ape. What happens when that goes? What happens when that goes? Because that's when mad starts happening.
I have to maintain at least some kind of faith in my fellow man not to resort to that. And I still do to this day, despite my lack of faith in humanity as of late.
It's a sobering, worrying thought, though, isn't it?
Well, I trust that people in general are better than that. That they have more sense than that. And for the large portion, I'm pretty sure I'm right. But at the same time, while most people don't break and enter into other people's houses and, make off with their TV, there is the small minority that do.
Bridget, I don't know. Would you like to go ahead and say? Because I'm not sure if there's anything else that we can really add to the whole damn thing.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember what state it was in, if it was Montana or, it was someplace like that just this week. One of the lawmakers there had threatened another lawmaker on the, I don't remember if it was the House or Senate floor in the state, basically telling her that you need to be careful how you vote on this issue because I'm carrying a weapon and so are several other of the lawmakers around here. So, watch your step. And I can't remember what state that was, but that's pretty damn scary.
Yeah, even if they were trying to make a joke, it was a bad one.
I don't think it was a joke.
Not sure what the matter that they were voting on was.
Oh, I don't think it really much matters, does it?
I think it was some kind of gun piece legislation on something. I'm going to have to try to Google this because I can't remember all the details, but this was just this week.
It wouldn't surprise me, and it also wouldn't surprise me if it was their way of trying to make a joke that was not only inappropriate, but also not funny.
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? I'm just gonna if there's any last thing that you guys still want to get out there, please by all means, because I think I'm getting really close to just wrapping this up because I need to be able to get to sleep, and I'm getting more and more aggravated with the further and further my brain is going on this.
Yeah. For a lot of this, for me, it just comes down to some people come with the brain to mouth filter installed, and some need to have it retrofitted.
Hun, anything?
No.
Your very own human being. Results may vary.
Let me just wrap this up. Randy went ahead and put in our chat my favorite quote from Network: "We're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore." I'm going to take that a step further really quickly, and I'm just going to wrap this really quickly. I may be misquoting it from Hamilton, and I've got my kid to thank for this, which I'm actually thinking I might want to see, finally. Are you out of your goddamned minds? Seriously, people. Seriously. Think about this a second. We have a powder keg. There is no other way of looking at it. Right under our freaking noses, this entire time that's been steadily growing, if we're seeing the signs correctly. But no matter how long it's been growing and how long it's been festering, it's there, right here, right now. The idea that any one of us could be sitting here and suddenly think, shit, how far are we to actual, serious violence, because the public is asking the questions and demanding answers? Representatives going back to their home districts don't want to go out there because they think that they're going to be in trouble. Yeah, with good goddamn reason. And yet there's no actual violence happening. There are people who are going out there and saying, I don't want to answer questions. And instead of just staying mute, they decide that they're going to go ahead and put somebody into the ground. At what point was intellectualism a bad thing? Since when did the jocks say it was okay to beat up on the nerds again? Let's try this from a different angle. When I was a kid in grade school, my class was told we were the first kids who were going to be the stewards of the 21st century. We're here now. I'm 48 years old. 48. The people that are making all the decisions, who are screwing this all to hell, are easily 10, 15, 20 years older than me. And I'm the target for being the first kids to be stewards of the 21st century. Somehow or other, I don't think that my generation is the problem. I think a good portion of this is the generation ahead not wanting to get out of the equation. Because some people just want to watch the world burn.
And that would be my generation. And let me tell you, folks, it's a goddamn disappointment.
With any luck, maybe it won't be quite so much. As always, everyone, thank you for being with us. As odd as this is to come back for and to be able to talk through, we hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives and everything we've had to say, and found something to think about for yourself. I'll have a couple of things before we get out of here, but of course, as always, Joey, thank you. And seriously, thanks a lot. I needed the extra perspective tonight, man.
That's what I'm here for.
Appreciate it. And Bridget, of course, thank you very, very kindly. You plug your stuff, and you don't have a talking gig coming up. It was Marissa that I put up on the Facebook page. Try to keep everything straight in my head right now, and I'm not doing really good.
Yeah, I did mine while you were gone.
Yes, you did. And congratulations on that, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Plug.
Well, if you would like to check out my blog, it's at bridgetfitch2112.wordpress.com. And you can also find me on Facebook as Bridget Fitch. And I guess that's about it.
I will go ahead and make sure that I've got your Facebooky linked in, because I don't have that linked in for you. I should see about that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
while you were gone, I was playing with Tucker Drake, and we read some Apocrypha on Atheism in the Trailer Park. And I was also on Scenic City Skeptic.
Yep, and I did get to hear that, and thank you very much for the plugs on that. You had a good time.
Plugs.
Yes, well.
Well, it's become habit. Every time somebody says "Holy crap," I say the vlogcast. Can't help it.
Yeah, believe it or not, that was actually in the back of my head when I was coming up with the name. It just kind of works out that way.
Yeah.
I'm really good at that kind of thing. To go along with everything else, by the way, and like I said, I had a couple of things. Of course, Heretic Woman typically has her show on Monday nights. If you want to check out about that, that is beyondthetrailerpark.com. Check that. And Dalan, thank you very much for all the work that you do, for being our audio bitch. Yes, you can laugh at that. If you'd like to find out Dalan's stuff on his blog, it's at inthewind.yo5.ca. And of course, Joseph has his stuff out there. He's got I forget what the blog name is, but I've got one linked in the show notes anyway, as typical. In the show notes, of course, as always, is the LGBTQIA+ support list. I want to let you guys know that tomorrow, meaning Sunday, which is actually today, the little one and I are going to be at the Pride Parade here in Buffalo, New York. We're going to be in the parade because it was important on several levels. I'm going to be very proud to be part of that. And supposedly it's going to be bad weather. Supposedly. It's okay. We've got an oversized umbrella with a rainbow on it. Why stop now?
Well, that, and imagine how appropriate it would be when, the rain finally lets up and there's a big rainbow across the sky. Not joking or anything like that. Just,
That happens. It's pretty awesome when it does.
I forget the actor that did it, but so what's the symbology here? Symbology? What's the symbolism? Now that was Willem Dafoe. I don't know the other actor.
That's okay. Anyway, and like I said, a couple of pieces. The web links and such for anyone that wants to check out about the parade and the Pride group is all linked in the show notes. I've got that all over in there. That is the Pride Center of Western New York. You can check that at buffalopridefestival.com. They've got Twitter, Facebook, YouTube accounts. You can find all that from over there. The Ride for Roswell team, I'm going to put the information up in our show notes. Also, information about GWAR and the Trevor Project. But there's one other item I want to, well, two other items I want to throw up in here. I was followed on Twitter. My personal account was followed on Twitter by an unusual account, twitter.com/Mr. Roger Say. Every once in a while, they put out phrases and expressions and things that Mr. Fred Rogers, had said. And on the drive home from the mall today, I got one, which was directed directly at me. As a matter of fact, it was a direct message, which was kind of cool. It was the words to one of the songs, which he wrote his songs, all the songs on the show. He had a hand in writing them. And it was the lyrics that went, "It's you I like. It's not the things you wear. It's not the way you do your hair, but it's you I like." I will hope that everybody gets the opportunity to check out those lyrics for themselves later. I think part of that was because I put out the word that we will be doing Breakfast with Fred again this year at Anthrocon, which is going to be at the end of, well, the beginning of next month. If you want to find out a little bit more about that, get in touch with me. But during the 36-hour marathon, I also had somebody drop in the Discord chat for me. So I'm also going to be linking in here for a gentleman who goes by the name of the Yamiks. He does YouTube vids for especially Elite Dangerous. He is an exceptionally nice guy. He did not have to drop in, but he did. He offered to even be on the air with me temporarily, which I was very grateful for, but at that point I was not really up for having anybody else on with me. And I'm specifically bringing him out because Monday, after I got done, after I'd had the time to, sleep in midday, he got back in touch with me on Discord. Just randomly, just got in touch with me and asked how I was doing. Didn't have to. No obligation to me whatsoever. So Yamiks, I want you to know, I've said on many an occasion, do right by me, and I will always remember you. Do wrong by me, and I will never forget. I don't let something like that go. You did well by me, and I will remember. And I'll do my best to do right by you. Thank you. Maybe I'll convince him to be a virtual rider for the ride. We'll see. Meantime, all those links will be over in the show notes for you, so you can check that all out. If you'd like to be in contact with us one way or another, of course, take a swing over to the main website, holycrapthevlogcast.com. All the links for contact and the show's podcast link is available for you right over there. The phone number, if you want to get in touch, is 859-HCTV 554 859-428-8554. 554. Be more than happy to hear from you guys. I will be looking forward to seeing you guys, of course, next week. I will be on for the next couple of weeks until another weekend that I'm gone again, whatever.
I'll keep an eye on him.
Appreciate that. But of course, as always,
he's coming to my town.
Yes, I am. But of course, as always, thank you all. I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And of course, my lady is 12 years on. I'm still in love. Matane Shujin. I love you and I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we get together, everyone, as always, good night.